Gravity does not negotiate. The moment balance fails, the clock starts ticking on the greatest hidden risk inside your house. The fear of falling and being trapped is a silent reality. Understanding medical alert devices for seniors living alone determines if an incident becomes a permanent loss of independence. You hit the floor. The impact disorients your senses. You reach for the phone, but it remains on the kitchen counter, 30 feet away. The pain sets in. The house becomes a prison of your own design. Medical professionals define this specific crisis as the long lie. It occurs when a person remains on the floor for more than an hour after a fall. Muscle tissue begins breaking down under the pressure of your own body weight. Kidney function degrades as dehydration accelerates. The physical damage eclipses the injury from the fall itself. The psychological damage runs deeper. Confidence shatters. The home transforms from a sanctuary into a landscape of potential hazards. Rugs become traps. Stairs become mountains. The mind starts calculating the distance to the nearest surface capable of supporting your weight. Notice the pattern. You might think a mobile phone provides an adequate safety net. A phone requires conscious action, fine motor skills, and physical proximity. During an emergency, pain and panic strip away your ability to operate complex screens. You need a system that functions when you cannot. We call this the Autonomous Lifeline Protocol. The Autonomous Lifeline Protocol removes the friction between a crisis and the required medical response. It relies on continuous, wearable technology that monitors your physical state without demanding your attention. It bridges the gap between isolation and precise care. Modern sensors read changes in barometric pressure to detect a sudden drop in elevation. Accelerometers track the velocity of movement, recognizing the specific kinetic signature of a fall. This creates an invisible safety net throughout your living space. Your daily routine remains untouched. You water the plants. You read in the armchair. You navigate the kitchen. The technology observes your environment in the background. Think about your own daily paths through your home. Where is the one blind spot where a phone is always out of reach? Share your observation in the comments below. When the system detects an anomaly, it initiates the sequence. It opens a two-way communication channel without requiring you to dial a number or find a device. A trained operator assesses the situation through the speaker. If you remain unresponsive, they dispatch emergency services to your exact coordinates. This intervention prevents the long lie. It mitigates the severe physiological breakdown that follows a prolonged period on the floor. You retain control of your narrative. This changes safety. Replacing fear with reliable systems requires the right hardware. A modern medical alert for elderly users provides this continuous monitoring without complex installation. These tools blend into your wardrobe and your lifestyle. They offer features like automatic fall detection, waterproof casing for the shower, and extended battery life. You can find a vetted option linked in the description below. This specific device meets the criteria for the Autonomous Lifeline Protocol. It is the core component of effective medical alert devices for seniors living alone. You secure the perimeter of your independence. Let us examine the architecture of a typical house. Every transition between rooms presents a subtle kinetic challenge. The shift from hardwood to carpet alters the friction under your shoes. A threshold requires a precise adjustment in your gait. Over time, the human body compensates for joint stiffness by altering its center of gravity. We shuffle instead of stepping. We rely on momentum rather than muscular control. This adaptation works until a sudden variable disrupts the pattern. Misplaced cord. A pet moving through the hallway. A moment of vertigo. The descent happens in less than a second. Human reaction time cannot outpace the acceleration of gravity. Your hands might brace for the impact, but the skeletal structure absorbs the shock. Once on the floor, the mechanics of rising demand immense core strength and leverage. If a hip or wrist sustains damage, the mechanical advantage disappears. You are grounded. This is the exact moment the traditional safety illusion fractures. Many individuals believe their family members serve as an adequate monitoring system. Your children might call every evening at the same time. This creates a 24-hour gap of vulnerability between conversations. If an incident occurs at night, the silence stretches until the next scheduled check-in. The physical toll compounds with every passing minute. Core body temperature drops if you lie on a cold surface like tile or linoleum. Hypothermia becomes a secondary medical crisis inside your own heated house. Measure the risk. The Autonomous Lifeline protocol neutralizes this time gap. It changes the metric from hours to minutes. When a sensor triggers the alert, the response mechanism activates before the secondary complications begin. The intervention is swift and clinical. It preserves the integrity of your body and the sanctity of your home. You avoid the lengthy hospital stays that precede a forced transition to an assisted living facility. Many attempt to solve this problem with consumer smartwatches. A smartwatch is designed for fitness tracking and text messages. It features a complex interface and a battery that depletes within a single day. You must remove it every night to charge it. Nighttime is when the highest percentage of falls occur. You wake up disoriented in the dark. You walk toward the bathroom without the device on your wrist. The consumer device provides an illusion of safety that shatters in the dark. A dedicated wearable features a battery that lasts for months or years. It remains on your wrist or neck while you sleep. It does not require software updates or screen swipes. It requires zero cognitive load during a crisis. Let us dissect the anatomy of panic. When a human body takes a sudden impact, the adrenal system floods the bloodstream. Heart rate spikes. Breathing becomes shallow and rapid. This biological response prepares the body to fight or flee. When you are trapped on the floor, neither option is available. The adrenaline has nowhere to go. Turns into pure, concentrated anxiety. The mind begins to race through worst-case scenarios. You calculate the hours until the mail carrier arrives. You wonder if your neighbor will notice the uncollected newspaper. This mental tax drains the energy you need to stabilize your breathing. The Autonomous Lifeline protocol bypasses this mental spiral. The moment the impact registers, the system takes over. The external voice through the speaker breaks the cycle of panic. It grounds you in reality. It provides an immediate anchor of control. Control the narrative. Consider the bathroom environment. Water, soap, and hard surfaces create the most hazardous zone in the house. Steam impairs vision and alters the grip on grab bars. The transition from the warmth of the shower to the cold air can cause sudden drops in blood pressure. Orthostatic hypotension leads to dizziness and loss of balance. Most standard electronics cannot survive the humidity of a bathroom. A proper safety wearable maintains its integrity under these conditions. It monitors your status where the risk is highest. You maintain your dignity and your hygiene routines without fear. You close the door, knowing the connection remains intact. This invisible tether provides profound psychological relief. The anxiety that accompanies routine tasks begins to fade. You reclaim the mental energy previously spent on hypervigilance. Living alone requires a strategic approach to environmental design. The geometry of your home changes when the sun goes down. Shadows alter depth perception. The familiar distance between the bed and the door becomes distorted. Sleep inertia impairs your reaction time. Blood pools in your legs when you stand up fast. This creates a transient state of vulnerability. If a fall happens at 2 in the morning, the silence of the house amplifies the isolation. A standard phone requires you to turn on a light, locate the screen, and dial. The continuous wearable requires none of these steps. We must address the stigma associated with safety technology. Many view these devices as symbols of decline or frailty. This perspective is flawed. Pilots use parachutes. Deep-sea divers use backup oxygen tanks. Professionals do not rely on hope to manage extreme risk. They utilize specialized equipment to ensure survival and maintain operational capacity. Adopting a safety wearable is a strategic decision made by a logical adult. It is a declaration of autonomy. You are engineering your environment to support your long-term goals. You are extending your timeline of independent living. You refuse to let a single mechanical failure dictate the terms of your future. This proactive stance requires courage and clarity. Reclaim your space. Independence is not just a physical state. It is a relational dynamic. When adult children assume the role of monitor, the parent-child relationship degrades. Every phone call begins with a subtle interrogation. They listen for signs of weakness in your voice. They scan the background of video calls for clutter or hazards. This erodes your sense of authority within your own home. Installing a dedicated communication and alert system reclaims that authority. You outsource the monitoring to technology. You preserve the emotional connection with your family. They visit to spend time with you, not to inspect your living conditions. You remain the architect of your domain. Let us look at the data regarding post-fall recovery. Prompt intervention correlates with a higher probability of returning to normal function. Delayed intervention results in systemic complications. Pneumonia develops in patients confined to bed after a severe injury. The initial fall is the catalyst, but the delay is the true destructive force. Eliminating the delay is the primary function of the Autonomous Lifeline protocol. You wear the device. You live your life. The algorithm handles the variables you cannot control. It monitors the physics of your movement. It stands watch over the baseline of your daily existence. As we map the future of aging in place, technology will continue to evolve. Sensors will become smaller. Algorithms will become more predictive. The fundamental requirement remains the same. You need a reliable mechanism to bridge the gap between isolation and assistance. Evaluate your current setup. Look at the distances between your rooms. Assess the hazards hidden in plain sight. Make the logical choice to fortify your independence. To solidify this concept, comment the word shield below. This confirms your commitment to proactive home architecture and independent living. Subscribe to the channel to continue optimizing your home for maximum safety and cognitive longevity. Implementing medical alert devices for seniors living alone ensures your house remains your sanctuary. Legal notice. This material is for educational and strategic purposes only and does not constitute medical or financial advice. Consult qualified professionals before altering your structural routines or medical protocols.